Welcome back, listeners, to Learning from Friends. My name is Cade Curtis, your tour guide on this lovely adventure that I call Learning from Friends. We're going to pick up on our two-part episode, speaking with Kristin Wilson, and I'm so excited that we get to do this. We had a wonderful first part of our conversation where we kind of gave the introduction of how she's a realtor, what real estate kind of means, a little bit of the jargon, her certifications, what it means, how to advertise, how to be able to go from beginning of the project to the end of the project of selling in or buying a property. And it's important for like reminding those little connections that she has and what her firm does that she works with, some of the vocabulary that's there. So if you want to go back and listen to part one, that is 100% recommended because we're going to pick right back up where we kind of left off at. Before we do, we have my mom's quote of the day. So Mom, take it away.
Today's quote is from Paul Kello. The world is changed by your example, not by your opinion.
Thank you, Mom. I always say I'm like speechless and thankful for all this because I am, because my mom is a great influence in my life. I'm providing this little like happiness, little kind of pokes in order to kind of, if I have a bad day, she revives it back up. And I got to give props to my dad as well for always kind of giving me, we have these conversations with sports and wrestling, and he's always sitting there and giving me little perks of his experiences in his life, kind of going through it. Because my wife is going into a transition of her work life, and she's going on to a night shift job. My dad worked night shift over the years, and so having that connection of understanding what it was like from him, and also understanding what it was like for our family was kind of a big deal as well. And being able to learn about, he's taught me over the years the life lessons about working with cattle, working on our fence property, the agricultural perspective. And we got done planting our garden again for this year. And it's that life lessons there of being able to work with your hands and be able to communicate with others amongst your community is just so valuable. So thank you for both my parents. Thank you for all my friends that have come on through in and out of my life. And I just feel so honored. And we're just going to go ahead and, before I start crying here, dive back into our conversation with real estate. Kristin, I'm sorry if I get emotional here for a second.
No, you're good. You're good. No worries. No worries. Emotion's amazing.
So Kristin, welcome back on this. We're going to pick back up with some people. This is the awkward part of a conversation, but you know, Kristin, thank you for being so open with this, because if some people don't know, how are you getting paid whenever you finish the transaction? Because we finished off with, you walked out the door, you signed the paperwork, you've done all this back work, you've done all the advertising for the customer. Well, how are you walking away with being paid?
So the way that we get paid is, so on the list side, so basically listing agents, we will negotiate with our clients to pay a 6% commission, which that 6% commission is then split between myself and the buyer's agent. So we negotiate that so that we're able to get our paycheck. The buyer agent is able to get their paycheck, get through the process. And then from there, once we are sitting at the closing table and all monies have been transferred about, I will get my check, and then so will the buyer's agent. And that's how we get paid. We have a wonderful person that works on the back end of in our company. She is our closing coordinator. Her name is Trisha. She's fantastic. She is the one that's creating the documents, because there's a lot of people don't realize there is a document that you have to have if you want to get paid at the closing table. It's called a disbursement. So we call it a DA. One of those words again.
Yep, another one. More alphabet soup.
Yep, more alphabet soup for sure. And they get that over to the closing attorneys for us so that when we're sitting there at the closing table, we're able to get our paycheck. From being paid, once we get that check, because we are independent contractors, we have to pay out of that. That's something that a lot of people don't know about real estate, right? Or about realtors, real estate agents. Is they think that we just get this huge check, right?
No.
That is not.
It starts out that way, and then it works its way down.
It does. And the way that I love to explain it to people sometimes, especially people that are visual, is, you've got 6 $1 bills is like the example, right? You've got 6. Automatically, 3 of those goes to the buyer's agent, because we've agreed to pay them 3% commission. And then we still have $3 ourselves. Okay. Well, one of those dollars is going to go towards some of the things that we've already paid for, right? Marketing, staging. There's a lot of costs that we've paid for prior to the deal ever closing.
And that's your money that you're using to be able to get there.
Correct. So we've got we've got some capital sitting in our business accounts that we're able to use so that we can provide those things for our clients. So it's kind of, in a way, I guess, paying ourselves back, but it's the cost of doing business.
Good advertising and good marketing and all that goes a long way.
Yes, and we do some beautiful brochures that we've had tons of compliments on.
Another selling point.
Yes.
Come back in, y'all.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I would love to show you guys if this was video, but yeah, they're beautiful. But we do for our listings. So it's just paying. So we've got $1 that's going to go towards those things that pay us back or used for the next listing that we have. Then we have to pay into our brokerage. So
percentages there.
Yeah. So you've got a percentage there that you've got to pay into them. So you've got to pay that. Also, you've got to take out tax money. Uncle Sam.
That's true. He wants his.
Yeah, he wants his. Typically budget with every check, 20% of that check automatically goes into a tax account, because with us being independent contractors, we're 1099.
Yep. And you got to be able to make sure that at the end of the year, you got the money there, because you don't want to be surprised.
That's right. So then pretty much between your brokerage, paying Uncle Sam, that takes up another $1. So then we're left with $1 left, which is to keep the roof over my family's head, keep food in my family's belly, gas in the cars so that we can run around, the car payments, all the typical bills that everybody has to pay. So then you're left with that. And that's something that a lot of people don't see and they don't realize. And with real estate, it's not always a flatline business where it's just, always business, always business. There are times that it can be a little bit roller coaster, because what you do today might not come
the next week.
Right, the next week. It
different seasons kind of affected as well.
It could take 90 days. Like you and I could start working together now, but if you haven't been approved, you might have some credit things that you got to work on. So I can start prospecting now, but it might not happen a closing for another 90 days.
And that's a big thing for those that get paid every 2 weeks or every week or every month.
Correct.
You don't have that consistent paycheck.
No. So it's budgeting. Budgeting is huge in real estate, of making sure that you're able to make your money work the way that it needs to work for you. So that's just some little tidbits that a lot of folks don't know. And they're just like, real estate agents make all this. Well, the paycheck is very good. However,
everybody's got to get paid.
That's right. Everybody's got to get a little bit of money. So that's how we get paid.
So that's good to kind of see that for the audience perspective here of realizing that, because as you said, it could be 30 days, it could be 60 days, it could be 90 days, kind of going through that. And everybody's got to make their money in the process, because if nobody works for free,
that's
when
right.
it comes to it, everything has a price.
That's right.
And making sure, as you said, with having the advertising, having those people there, it's going to make it faster for you to get paid too. And it's going to make that customer a lot happy, because at the end of the day, that's your job, is to make everybody happy for it.
Yep.
And a real estate agent coming in is more going to be willing to work with you if they know that you're going to be able to close that.
Correct.
And you're going to be able to make that work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what is your niche in the market that you like to be able to? I know you say you like everything, but everybody has like, this for me is my bread and butter.
So my bread and butter is, it's pretty much, it's all price points. However, I have really, really found that I like working luxury market.
Okay.
I made a decision about a year and a half ago. Was it a year and a half ago?
Time flies.
I know.
It feels like the last 3 years.
It was in 2021. It was the end of 2021. I made the decision that I wanted to tap into the luxury market. And so I just kind of started to embrace that. Like, okay, this is where, and I started focusing on, okay, who do I know? Who can I talk to? Who knows this, market? And it happened that Shelly's buyer's agent had parted ways. She had decided to go out on her own. And Shelly is known for the luxury market. So she needed some help. And I was like, absolutely, I'll help. Not a problem. Because I was like, wow. Because I didn't personally know Shelly yet at that point. I'd known her from in the office, mutual friends, just kind of conversations. But I didn't know her. So I was like, we met for coffee. And I said, let's just kind of see. I'll help you out. She loved my personality. She'd already heard a great reference from Amanda.
Good reputation.
My mentor, Amanda Fard. But hey, she's great. She would probably love to help you. So hit it off great. She'd asked me about, later on, how do you think about joining a team? At that time, I didn't want anything to do with it. I was like, no, I'm good. And then I thought, and I was like, you know what? Let me know.
Yeah.
Right before you're at the point that you're ready to make that buyer's agent hire, let's have another conversation.
Mhm.
So
Lift the door open.
yeah, I was like, just let's leave it here and see. Right. So lots of different conversations, different aspects, different feelings from different coaches on which way I should go. They had several people were like, no, you're great as an individual agent. However, I quickly realized that I love working with people and working in a group setting. So Shelly was ready to make that hire. I'd made the decision that I wanted to join a team. I had interviewed with another team that just wasn't a fit. Great team, just not a great fit for me. Shelly was. Our values aligned with each other. The things that we wanted to go after aligned with each other. And the other perk, she was my tap in for that luxury market. So for
There you
me,
go.
I was like, this is God opening a door. Here it is, step. And so I stepped, and I have loved every minute of it.
What defines that luxury market?
So luxury market is a price point. I believe it's 900,000 and up now is what's considered your luxury market, or is it 750?
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah, somewhere between. And I should know this.
Well, when it comes to numbers, the market could totally change. What was a $750,000 house like 3 years ago
Right.
was maybe $300,000, and that the numbers are ever changing. So I don't blame you for not
Correct.
being able to keep up with that.
I believe that it's 750 and up is considered your luxury market now because it did change not too long ago. So I'll have to look into that. So apologies for not knowing that.
That's no
Y'all,
issue at all.
yeah.
I don't know a lot of stuff whenever it comes to teaching. I tell the guys, hey man, we're going to figure this out together. Give me a moment. Let's move.
Listen, I tell people that will ask me questions because I don't know everything. And I
Right.
say to folks, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I do not know the answer to it. However, give me a little bit and I will.
And transparency, that goes a long way. Because if you wind up telling them something that's wrong, and they're now going to question you of like, what have they been feeding me
Correct.
something else? And being honest with somebody in general, just
we're
always
not perfect.
honesty is the best call.
Yeah, we're not
policy.
perfect. We don't know everything.
We're human.
But I've got 350 other agents in my office that I can definitely reach out to and ask questions.
That could be right back to you. Give me about like an hour, 2 hours.
Exactly. So that is definitely where the niche in the market is for us, is the luxury side of things. And that too is also, you're in those markets, you're selling the lifestyle because luxury is it's a different little beast.
That definitely is. And people wanting to get into that kind of market, you have to have your money available for that readily.
Yes.
And if you're not, it's going to be known pretty quickly.
And also in that market, the buyers have done this a couple of times. The listings, the sellers, they've done this a couple of times. They're not new to the process. They know. And they're ready. And even like interest rates don't bother them because they know that it's up. They know that the market that we saw of 2% and 3% is not real.
No, not anymore.
Not real. I've had multiple. I bought a house and it was 18%, like 8%. Oh, that's great. I'm good. because I'll just refinance.
Yeah,
That's
that's the thing. I was so happy when I refinanced during COVID because we dropped down like 2.5 points from where we originally were. I'm like, this is great.
So they've been around the block a couple of times of doing the process. So that's where our niche is in that market for sure.
So within that niche market of luxury, what county, where do you service? Are you like one county? Are you certain cities? Like what's your kind of like radius?
So we are metro to mountains.
Okay.
So we service the Atlanta metro market. So we are Cherokee, Cobb, Fulton, Forsyth, Pickens, Bartow. I'm trying to remember all of them.
There's a lot of counties.
Yeah, there is Paulding. There's a radius of ones. And then we also service up into North Georgia. So
And that's a big emerging
Fannin.
market.
Oh, it's amazing. It's a secondary market. So for secondary folks that don't know what secondary market is, secondary markets are your rental. Like it's high-end tourist. So yeah, you've got a lot of investment properties that are up there. So we've got folks that buy up there sight unseen. So you've got Fannin, Gilmer counties that are up that way. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see how the changes of the pricing and
Evolution.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, so we service from metro to mountains. Mountains is amazing. Going up there and servicing those clients, and a lot of them, it's investors that I helped a client that was out of Ohio.
And I'm sure seeing the investors like, I need to close on this property before I do this property, and that thing. So like, what makes an investor buyer like different than working with a buyer that's just buying the house for themselves?
So there's absolutely no emotion.
Okay.
None. It is strictly numbers and it is business. Does it work or does it not? Does it fit my box? Does it not fit my buy box? Which is it? And there's no emotion tied to it at all. The folks that bought that I helped them out of Ohio, they did a 1031 exchange. They had sold an investment property in Ohio, put the money into a 1031, and you have 45 days to get another piece of property under contract that is similar.
If not, Uncle Sam is going to come in hard.
Correct. He's going to it's for tax purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So we were on a mission.
Let's go.
And it was in the crazy market. It was in the frenzy market, right? Again, it came down to numbers. Found this amazing piece of property, income producing already. So
That's
we were
a big
able,
win.
yeah. And so we negotiated it. We were able to do, it was a great process. The folks loved our offer, went with it. And boom, she sent me a wonderful message right around tax time that let me know how much money that they were able to bring in this year from their investment property.
And that's rewarding with itself, of seeing that I helped somebody get there. And I like that thing. There's no emotion because, again, it's business.
Yeah.
That's the whole point there. And that can make something speed up. It can make something slow down.
Exactly. There's nothing. It's just, it's passive income for them, right? Or it's building a legacy for their family. So there's another great agent that's in our area that, he's got a legacy going on. He owns multiple rental
The empire.
properties. Yeah, for sure. You wouldn't know it having a conversation with him. But that's the biggest thing, like with investors, is there's no emotion to it. They've got a buy box. They know exactly what's going to rent or what's going to sell for like flipping purposes. Again, studying the market, seeing what's moving and how quickly it's moving. You're wanting to get those distressed properties because you're able to go on there, do some work to them, and then put them back on the market and make some money. Everybody's got different models. Everybody has a different model of how much that property needs to make for them. How much does that property, do they need to spend on it? Everybody's got their different ones. And I've got some great folks that I work with that are investors, and they do a beautiful product at the end. And you can definitely tell when you are showing properties, those that do it all the time and want to do it right versus those, what we call, put lipstick on a pig. So you can tell the difference. But yeah, there's no emotion to it. It's just numbers. It's business. It is strictly business.
And rehabs are a part of the luxury market for you as well.
They can.
Is to be able to go in and see that what may be originally a $750,000 house, by the end of it, could be a $1.5 million house.
Absolutely. We have a couple of clients that's where they like to play, is in that price, to be able to flip the houses that way. And they liked working on the top end of things. A little bit of advice I will give some of those folks, if they were listening, that are thinking of, ooh, that sounds great, but let's keep your price point below 1.5. We just came out of a trend talk, and that what we have seen is that you're in the luxury market, houses that are 1.5 and above, it has actually shifted into a buyer's market. We've got 8 months or more of inventory now. So we have shifted in that market. So, but once you pop back down into that 1.4, we're still sitting in a little bit of a seller's market. So y'all listen, that's another little piece of advice of us constantly looking at the numbers, constantly studying the market. That's changed.
It's an important deal to be able to realize that.
Yeah.
Because if you're sinking in a ton of money and if the market's not there to be able to sell it, you may be sitting there for a while, and that could hurt for the person that's flipping.
Well, you're
going to
lose money
to the next
ultimately.
Yep, the longer you sit on it.
Yep. The longer you sit, the more you don't want to chase the ball down the hill. Price it right first time and keep moving so you don't lose money.
I give a lot of credit for those investors that came in during the market crash a while back, bought something, started renting those properties out, and then once the market got extremely high, flipping that property after they rented it, say, maybe they rented it for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden cashed out, went to another location, and was able to maybe downsize from having 20 properties to maybe having 2 or 3, be able to manage that.
Yeah, lots of investors have done that. And it's just because I love investing. Like, I love the building the wealth off of it. So I follow it. I talk to people about it all the time. I go to different investor classes just because, eventually it's something I want to do myself. But listening to the number of investors that bought in that down market that we had, right? They bought when it was super low, did some things to the houses and rented them out, that have now sold off all of their properties.
And make
right?
bank.
And now they're sitting with their cash and they're just kind of waiting. They're still buying, they're still selling, they're still doing things, but they've got their cash money.
That's the smartest thing at the end of the day with those investors is they're always prepared for when the market goes down to buy. Always keep cash on hand.
Always.
I love reading into financial literacy stuff. That's like, I'm a self-help junkie and a financial junkie of reading those kind of books. And that's when you're selling, I'm buying.
That's
Like,
right.
that's what a lot of people are kind of saying to it. And I've got that cash on hand to do it. So
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of, they're like, bring on the bear market. Let's go.
Yes.
Full in bear markets. It makes a big difference.
It does, for sure. I've definitely read, heard, and been around and seen the folks that have done that. So it's very true. And the other thing too about like buying, I was sitting in with a coaching call the other day, buying and selling, and I love the mindset. I love it. And I'm going to hold on to it. Is the best time to buy is right now. The best time to sell is today. The best time to buy is today.
The more you overthink it.
Yeah. Nobody knows. I mean, my crystal ball is on back order from Amazon. I'm waiting on it to come in.
It may be a little while. Maybe a little while.
Maybe. So that I could tell people, exactly. We don't know. So the best time to buy is now. The best time to sell is now.
Because that property may not be there tomorrow, but if you see it, you see the capabilities of what it can do, that means that it's there right now.
Exactly.
It's there. It's the capabilities. Whenever you were saying that you're really interested in that realm of investing eventually in maybe a piece of property or something like that, what's your interest in that?
Definitely want rental properties is what we want. Short-term ones though. We don't want to do long-term. So we've got a 5-year plan where we want to buy a beach house or a beach property, and where we want to buy a cabin too. So that is in our 5-year plan to do that. We've got that's the other thing. We've got goals. As realtors, we've got goals
always, in general in
plans.
life, everybody needs to have that kind of plan.
Yep. So we've got a plan for it of where we're going and what we want to see. But that's where we want to go. We want to do short term. So we don't necessarily want to do long terms. Have definitely seen where our family can benefit from those, plus others can benefit from those. So that's where we want to do. I definitely am itching to do a flip. I really want to do a flip.
You have to have a lot of good connections there to make sure that, and you may uncover something very quickly that may,
Thankfully, my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, they did quite a few through the years.
Experience.
Experience. My mother-in-law's an agent. She's not active like in the business as I am, but she's been a great resource. And so my husband, Brandon, has been around it for many, many years. We will not do the piece where we flip our own property as far as our home is concerned, because he's like, I'm not moving like that again.
That's stick here. Yeah.
He's like, he won't do those where it's the every 2 year, move. However, he will do the flips, and he's supportive of it, but we've got the knowledge and we've got the experience of his folks that definitely do it, because I'm itching. I am so itching to do one. And we will do one for sure. It's just a matter of time. And it's also, that's the other thing that I have found with investors is that they don't rush. The deal will come.
Yeah. The right one when it finds me.
Yeah.
I just said buy today. Whenever you're ready for it and you see it, you jump on it, because it'll fall in your lap. As with real estate, got you where you needed to be at that point.
Exactly.
It found you, and you decided it was time, and you kind of jumped into it.
Yeah,
because if it doesn't feel right, it's not right.
That's right. That's 100%. So yeah, I found that they are very calculated in their moves, and the right deal will definitely always fall into place.
I know some brokers offer this, some don't. Does KW offer renter services for people?
Not that I know of. We have a partner that we.
So you have been connected.
A business. Yeah, we have a connection that does that offers those services. Yeah, not necessarily like from our office, but we do have a company.
Now, do you see? I know with the short-term rentals and the investors that way. I know about 1 year or 2 years ago, Airbnbs and Verbos were being heavily kind of bought up. Like people were buying, kind of doing that. Is that still a trend that you are seeing, or does that just fall under they're just the investors, and they're not kind of like this is not an investor property for rental. They may be keeping that quiet, but I know is that something that's happening in Cherokee County out of curiosity?
I know that I have seen where people are doing your like long-term rentals, like I've seen them where It's Airbnb. It is an Airbnb, but it's long term, like it's a month
Okay.
rentals for folks. Like you've got some like traveling nurses, for example.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
That they just need a place that's already got everything. And so the properties are fully furnished. But I've also seen it where it came into play in the frenzy of a market where people had nowhere to go.
That's true. After you sold your house and you're
Yeah.
trying to find that next transition
Trying to find
over.
that next one. So I've seen it with that. I don't have a ton of knowledge in that, Kate. I'll be real honest. I mean, I've
Hey,
seen it, but I
it's
just don't
just
have a ton of knowledge in
a
it.
trend me listening into my real estate, not real
Yeah.
estate, but my investing portions of, I've listened to like 4 or 5 podcasts, them talking about, so like the Verbo properties and the Airbnb things, that's kind of people popping up and all the life hacks of, hey, there's somebody living in my basement and that's helping me pay my mortgage here
Yeah,
and there.
like you see that. I just am not super knowledgeable on it.
And that's one thing I always recommend anybody that I talk to. If you're curious about something, read about it. There's someone out there
Oh,
that
yeah.
has done it.
Yes.
In YouTube, books, I recommend going through a book
We have
first.
computers in our hand,
Oh my gosh,
literally.
our technology has advanced so fast in
Yeah.
comparison to what it was when we first were starting out. To
know.
go to the library, go to this, be able to get that law book or get this in place. And you never know what you're going to find on the internet too. But always look up the details that's out there before just all of a sudden believing somebody right out of the gate.
Exactly. Research it.
Yep.
And go to the second and third pages of Google.
Yes. Always. Yes. It can become your best friend.
Yes.
It really can. Look up the author.
Yeah.
Look up the author to see if they have something of a background here, or is there any history of this person at all out there? If not, then there may be a reason why there's
Yep.
not yet.
100%.
Out of curiosity, where do you perceive the market going yet? I know you haven't got your crystal ball yet,
Right?
but you're seeing that trend of we're kind of coming out of this, as you said, like 0-day to 3-day, 8-day closings to kind of going further up. What do you think's kind of going next?
In my opinion, just from watching and listening and all the different things that we're going to, I definitely don't see that the sky is falling. Something that I tell my folks, and that I heard this in a mastermind, is that if you're gonna, like, for instance, you and I are having a conversation and you say, hey, I read this. I'm gonna ask you, hey, will you send me that article? I would love to read it. I would love to read it. Because something that the consumers don't understand, things that the news is reporting nationally. They're not reporting locally. So I want to be your resource that you come to. And I don't want people to be afraid. Yeah, absolutely. Let's fact check each other. 100%. Let's do that. Send me that article. And I'm going to look at it and I'm going to read it. And if it's like, and I finally read into it, this is from California.
Yeah,
Well,
that's not gonna.
California's market is not our market.
Yeah, laws are different. What
Yeah.
people are looking at, that's the whole realm.
Our Atlanta super local markets, we're still moving. People are.
Jobs are locating here.
Yes,
Yeah.
like people are moving here. I mean, we've got Hartsfield,
Jacksonville Airport. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Woo.
So I mean,
Hartsfield Jackson, not Hartsfield Jacksonville.
Yeah, no worries. So we've got that. There's so many great things about Atlanta that people are moving here. So the markets are still moving. So where people are like, oh, it's slowed down. It has slowed
Maybe one area, but
down,
another area.
right, for like half a second. But I'll tell you, we've had 3 buyers that 2 of them were fine because the houses were priced a little bit over. So they were testing out the market. Another one, we went looking at houses that 2 of the houses were underpriced. Drove it into a multiple offer situation.
That's always a challenge.
Yeah, always. But then we ended up finding him one that it was a little bit overpriced and we were able to negotiate. So you just have to get super local with your folks and just be an open conversation and let them know what's going on around them, not what's happening nationally. Because what's happening here is completely different from what's happening in California, Texas, New York, Colorado. And articles you're going to read deep into it. See where they're really coming from. Anybody that has anything, send it to me. I would love to have a conversation about it. If you have questions, call. I'd love to talk to you, to let you know we are literally the feet on the ground working in this business day in, day out, studying the market, being on the ups and ups with everything that don't see much really. I still see us moving. We're still moving. And that's the thing. People need to buy and sell. Situations are always changing, right? Unfortunately, you will have divorce that happens. You will have folks that are like, wow, I am in this 8-bedroom house and we are now empty nesters.
Yep.
We need to downsize. Or you have the people that we're married now. We've got 3 kids. We've got another one on the way. We need to upsize.
Break down this wall. Let's go.
Right. We need more space. You'll also have folks that are like, you know what? I can work from anywhere. And I have dreamed of living in Washington State or, Oregon or something like that. I'm ready to sell. Or I'm retiring and I'm going to Florida. So there's always something as to people are always going to have to buy and sell.
This is true. Always
it
true.
Is. Something that I believe is that, because you'll hear a lot about interest rates, is that people have finally realized that those numbers that we saw in the past were not real.
Yeah.
And that we have different tactics to get around those now. That the interest rates are a little bit higher.
But it's not a bad thing. It could be in the 1980s where they're paying 18 to 24% just to
come to the table with some serious cash. And the thing that we're also advising our clients is if this is right for you, you can always refinance when the rates come back down.
That's true.
You can always refinance.
And that's a nice thing whenever you're refinancing, getting a little bit of your equity out to maybe buy another rental property or buying
that's a tactic right there too.
Something that's there.
Yeah.
Always finding a way to work it. And as you go along, that's something to always consider whenever you're talking back to, if you're looking at refinancing and you take out some equity, you can always go back to the agent that you had before to be able to work on something.
That's right. We have lots of people that do that. They take out they play with the house's money, as my husband calls it.
At that point, it really is.
Yeah.
And I always look at the numbers from whenever refinancing, my brain goes to, now wait a second, we refinance down to less than 3%. If I take some extra money to put in the stock market that's making 4% annually, okay, I'm not worried about paying my house off in 20, 30 years.
Correct.
I don't have to do that. Now, not every year I'm going to get a 5% or 4% return from the stock market, but that's like, I'm looking at traditional numbers here. And if you play that, and that's why sometimes it may be best. It may not be best. It's a matter of what your perspective is for paying off a mortgage or not. Because I know some people are like, I don't want to owe money. I do not want to do that and have it in a place. So again,
I follow a bunch of different people from Dave Ramsey to, oh my gosh, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Why can't Robert?
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
I will totally mess up his last name if I try to say it.
Mr. Money Mustache is another one.
Yeah, I followed. And
I love Choose FI. That's another one that I like going
There's different
through.
tactics for everything. And I respect all of their views. We've adapted to some of Dave Ramsey's views for sure in certain ways of being debt-free.
Yeah.
Minus our house.
And matched,
right? And we just find what works for our family. Right. And not, But yeah, so definitely y'all look into stuff, read stuff, get into all that stuff. But there's different ways for sure.
And one thing that I'm curious about that I've noticed in Cherokee County is we used to have these bigger plots of land that were and now that we're like farmers and then people with their like little compounds of all the families kind of living here is now they're coming in, they're selling off the sub parcels and selling off little sections, one kind of at a time. When this is happening, do you find it easier when you're working with someone that is of an older generation or a younger generation whenever you're kind of selling and buying? Because I know that could be a variety difference.
It is different. You have to change. You're like a chameleon, I guess you could say. Like you switch around a little bit because you've got like your older generations. I mean, like for example, it doesn't bother them to sell and buy at interest rates, right? And you've got your other folks, your younger ones. But it's interesting the young folks that are coming into the market and buying. But as far as like selling and buying those large parcels of land in Cherokee County, that is definitely happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like for it. And I get torn on it because like I'm history.
It does hurt my soul of seeing the population go from like 10,000 to now we're like
and I
upwards of 50, 60, 70.
Yeah. Like the small town feel. Like I love all of that. So I get torn on it of like, but there's a lot of pieces that I'm like, just don't sell it to those that throw them on top of each other. Do it to ones that like you actually have some space, but that's not what people want anymore.
Yeah. And you don't know whenever you're selling that property to somebody at times because they may wait till, okay, we're going to buy it and then we're going to subdivide it later and turn it into plots or we're going to rezone it into industrial or this and that.
You don't know what's going to happen. But no, They all have their different ways that you got to
True.
work with the older generation, the new generation for sure. But yeah, in Cherokee County, you definitely see a lot of those big parcels of land that are starting to be sold off and cut up. But there's other parts of Cherokee County. There's parts of Cherokee County that you can't. Like,
That's
there's
true.
too
The
many.
zone agricultural
Yeah.
and it's plot that way.
Yep.
And if you do so much, then it's going to ultimately cause
Exactly.
a environmental issue.
Yep.
That's something that comes up. A lot of people don't think about the environmental impact whenever you're going into an area.
Exactly.
it could
Well, and
do.
folks don't understand like springs running underneath
Oh
land
yeah, the
and
water aquifers.
yeah. So there's different things like that. There's all kinds of different things that come about that you find out when you're working in this, especially the big tracts of land.
Yeah,
For sure.
that's true, because we constantly have people showing up saying, "Oh yeah, would you be willing to sell?" Because we have property in Freehome, and they're like, "Oh, would you be willing to sell?" I'm like, "You saw your way in, you can see your way out."
Yeah,
kind of
we're
deal.
not
But
selling.
and we're getting the new Freehome and the new park built right back up to our property, and so that's been
Okay.
interesting as well. And I can imagine for people that could create a whole new reason. Now I'm going to sell.
Yep.
I kind
it
of put into
does.
place.
They can. Yep, for sure. Because they don't want it. They want to move further north where they've got
It's true.
where they haven't been found quite yet.
Yeah, not yet. And that's in Cherokee County is kind of moving that direction. We've been found, we've been spotted.
Yeah, they're moving to Pickens County next. That's where
Yep,
they're going.
Pickens, and then it'll go up to Fannin.
Yeah.
and
Well,
hopefully
they found Fannin.
that's true for the rental. A lot of the rental stuff that
Yeah.
definitely pops up there. Now, what are some advice that you would recommend? We're going to go first real estate agent, and then we'll go over to a buyer and seller, because we
Okay.
talked a little bit about this last episode, but
Yep.
I want to give that refresher for somebody that's there. So what would you recommend for a person that's going in to become a real estate agent first, which they may decide to become a realtor right afterwards?
Okay. Some advice I would let them know is just don't be scared. Again, I believe I said this in the last one. Do not think for a second that this is a get rich quick. It's hard work. It's dedication. You're going to have to grind. So the advice would be get with a broker that is going to feed you as far as training is concerned. Not feed you as far as leads are concerned, but to teach you how to be a business owner. So it's like the whole saying of, you teach a man to fish.
Yes, I love this
Right?
one.
Teach a man to fish, he'll feed himself for a lifetime and feed his family. Same thing, like find a company that is going to teach you how to be a business owner so that you can constantly feed yourself and you're not dependent upon somebody. And you're building a legacy, because that's something that you can do inside of real estate. It's going to come. There's so many light bulbs that have gone off in this last year that I didn't even think about, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. There are classes that I retake every single year on purpose because I get something new out of it every single time.
It's
So
like
that would
reading a
be-
book, read it multiple
yes.
times, because what you saw one time, you didn't
Yeah.
see the next time, but you see something else.
Absolutely. And be prepared. You're going to learn. You're going to learn a lot. You're not going to remember it all in the beginning, and that's okay. Just keep going. Keep showing up every single day and just work. Put in the work and it will pay off.
There you go. What's a recommendation or advice for, let's go to seller?
For a seller coming into the market for sellers, I'm going to say listen to your experts. Listen to them. We study it every single day. Yes, you watch the news, 100%. Give everybody credit to that. 100% give you the credit to that. But look at our data. Pay attention to it. We study it every single day. It's kind of like I kind of use the example of like a heart surgeon, right? Would you want me doing heart surgery on you?
No.
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 I don't know anything about it, right? It's not my niche. It's not my thing. So we're the experts. We work it just like a heart surgeon. He's an expert. I want the best working on me. I want someone that is studying it consistently to be the one that's giving me that advice. So listen to us. Absolutely ask questions. Yes, if you have any questions, ask them. We want to be able to give you the knowledge and help you out. Just know that we're working for you, and we're looking out for your best interest. Same thing with buyers. Any kind of advice for buyers?
Go for it.
Yeah, just we're looking out for your best interest. Go into this with an open mind. Know too that not every house is going to be the one for you, and we know that for sure. Don't get frustrated with the process. If you're a first-time home buyer, it's going to be a lot. You're going to feel like you're going to be a little bit overwhelmed at times. Call us. That's okay. We're here.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, we're here to talk to you and let you know what's going on and keep you on the up and up. there's different terms and language that you're just going to not know. We're going to go over that information in our buyer consultation. However, you're not always going to remember it, and that's okay. Reach back out. Don't freak out. And the other thing too, something I've learned with, and this is buyers and sellers, nothing in real estate is an emergency.
True.
It's just not. And it'll all work out the way that it's supposed to.
I think they say 99% of worries, only 1% of them actually are a worry.
Correct. Yeah. And it's huge. And I have found multiple times that I've had clients reach out, they're freaking out. Oh my gosh. And I'm in an appointment or something like that. By the time I call them back, it's solved.
Yep.
Right. So nothing's an emergency. It's all going to be okay. Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, something I'm so surprised that I forgot to ask this question, because you mentioned it several times throughout it. How do you do your time management? Because that's a huge aspect. Because you said you're a mom, you've got your house, you've got your parents and other family members that are around you. It's like, how do you do it?
So I'm up really early. And I believe I've heard people say, oh, real estate agents don't get up until like 9 o'clock. Well, not this one. I am up at 4:45.
Nice.
Yes, I'm up at 4:45 every morning. First thing I do is I get up, get lunches prepared, get breakfast ready, get my coffee going, get the husband out the door because he's out the door super early. He's usually gone by 5:30. And then from 5:30 to 6, I sit down, and because it's quiet, nobody's up yet.
Sun's not up yet either.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like I got to be up somewhere.
No, nothing's happening quite yet. So I sit down and I will do my 5-minute gratitude journal where I will do affirmations. I will let the world know what it is that I'm looking for today. What would make today a great day? What am I thankful for? And it's little things. I mean, it can be like, I'm thankful for the warm coffee that is in my hand right now. I am thankful for the fact that I woke up this morning. I'm thankful for, the people that I'm going to bless today. And then I'll, circle back to, what is my purpose today? Who am I? Who do I need to talk to that I can help? And it's not just help real estate, it's help period, because you'll find that with realtors, we're big on our community, helping, giving back. So who can I help today? Who is it that's going to come in my path that I'm able to bless today? And then what other things, like what would make today a great day? And you can put in there, I've written down, going for a walk this evening with my family. The children not fighting.
Yeah, there we go. That's a big one.
Yeah, my husband and I are both only children. So there are times that we look at each other like, is this normal? Are they supposed to argue like this all the time?
That's a big jump, having 2 kids, yeah.
Because we just don't know. And then from there, I will read a book. Like I'm reading a book right now that Rick Hale has written that's amazing. So whatever book I have for the moment, I'm picking that up and reading it for about 30 minutes. And then I'll hit the shower. Then about that 6:30, 6:45, kids are getting up. I'm not thinking anything about work. I'm focused on the kids, getting them out the door. And I usually hit my office by 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock is when I start my lead generation follow-up. Lunch is typically around noon, and then appointments in the afternoon. If I don't have appointments in the afternoon, it's following up again with folks, lead generating, prospecting, and then pick my little munchkin up at 4.
Cool.
Yep. And then dinner, and I will try to squeeze in there some yoga, some personal time, because you just have to have some Zen moments.
You really do.
Or I'll have that. I mean, I typically sit down on Sundays and will write out my calendar for the week of what I've got planned, and I will put in there, okay, I've got an opening here. So your self-care is huge. Having that mindset. Right. We're huge on mindset at KW. Huge.
If you have an unhealthy team, it's not going to make the atmosphere good for your clients.
Correct. Something that I did make a shift in the last, I believe, month and a half, was my coach was like, listen, after you put the kids to bed and you sit down on the couch for the evening, do not drag out all of your work stuff. There comes a point in time that you need to be done, and you need to be done. So I have taken that advice. I love it. I have found where I used to hate reading that I actually love reading 30 minutes before I go to bed.
I'm working on that one.
Yeah.
I do audiobooks, but I want to physically hold something.
Oh, yeah. So I read about 30 minutes before I go to bed. And then I'm typically in bed. It just kind of depends. Sometimes it's between 10 and midnight.
And then wow. So you live on like 4.5 to 5 hours of sleep?
It just depends. Woo! Yeah. It depends on where I'm at for the moment. But yeah, that's typically when I go to bed. And my routine for bed is I've got this lovely sleepy balm that I put in my hands, and I turn on some sleep music, and I'm out like a light.
Nice.
And I try to stay off the cell phone because
Yeah, you got to put it on silent or like the private.
mine goes into like night mode,
Okay.
which I have no idea how it does that, or I just know
Some
it
weird
does
settings.
it at 9:00. So that I'll like miss messages and stuff like that.
But you need to disconnect.
Yep.
That's a huge thing.
And it doesn't turn back on until my alarm goes off.
Oh.
And I
need to
mean,
look that
I
on my
can
phone.
I can manually turn it off if I want to. Like I've got but if I don't remember to do it, and then all of a sudden I'll look at my phone, which I don't look at my phone until, because like my phone is still sitting on my nightstand when I get up. Like I just shut off the alarm, and then I don't typically actually look at my phone until probably about 8:00.
See, that's a good thing that I need to kind of set myself up on, is that routine of, because I get up in the morning, I'll go to eat some breakfast, I'll sit there, I'll just turn on the TV for like literally about 15 minutes just to like clip onto something, just kind of like not stupefy my brain, but the words is something that's mindless. I don't have to like go into any of those thoughts. And then I'll look at my email, look at all this different other stuff, and that's unhealthy to start the day. But I have got little systems of like, I even tell like parents, students, whatever, I'm like, as soon as 4:30 hits, I'm walking out the door, my computer's shut down. I'm not looking at it until the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm making a point of, I'll come in maybe an hour early of work in order to get something done. So whenever I leave school, it is done.
Yep.
But you have to find those little moments. And I like that the system you have set up of doing your affirmations and having that little routine there of, I'm going to project what's happening next. I'm going to put it out there into the universe, and then doing the self-help of exercising and making sure that you're spending your time, and then having a good boss that says, disconnect, turn it off. And then having those conversations with your kids and your husband. And then we were talking about community-based things of doing that is you can't be turned on 24 hours to doing
I wouldn't do a good job.
It'll burn you out. It'll burn you out.
That's right. It will, for sure.
Are there any things that I have not covered during our time that you're like, okay, let me throw this out here real quick, or let me throw that there?
Well, you actually like brought it up, like your routine, right? Of turning on the TV in the mornings. So something that I found very interesting, again, at a mastermind, the gentleman that was putting it on, he said, I got a question for everybody. How many people in this room watch the news? Raise your hand.
Okay.
I was in a room full, I don't even know how many people were there. It was over 50 people that were there. 2 people raised their hands.
Wow.
And I'm in a room of realtors.
Wow.
And I was not one that raised my hand. And I cannot tell folks how amazing it is to not watch the news.
It can make you pretty depressed at times, but also make you really confused too, because you're like,
correct.
Why didn't I think about this? I do fasting from news from time to time, or if I'm doing it, Reuters has this good thing of 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute news where you can just kind of sum it up, and I'm like, okay, that's it, and turn it off. But that is smart of just turn it off.
Well, what I
Don't stress
found,
yourself.
and I've disconnected myself from any any news outlets on social media. I've
That's
completely
a huge one.
disconnected from anything I've unliked, unfollowed, whatever. Because what I found, and this is out to the entire audience, is that it really, really affected my mindset. I was finding myself worried, anxious, like, oh my gosh. And I find such peace now of not watching any of that stuff. So
That's
just,
true.
a little bit of advice, because, with real estate, they're always talking about it now, what's going on. It can be a lot of negativity being thrown at you. So whether it's myself or any other realtor that reach out to them. Let them be your source of information, not the news.
There you go. There's a lot of bias today on one section or the other. So you may listen to one and then you listen to other and they're saying 2 different things.
Yeah. And you don't know which one to believe.
It's true.
And then, whether people believe this or not, you can't tell who's right or wrong, or fact check some folks. So we're the ones that are like digging into our multi-listing systems and following it and really paying attention and want to be folks' source, not the news media, because we're working here, we're in it day in, day out, So yeah, that's something, just a little last minute things. The other piece for anybody that is looking to buy, sell, or invest, We'd love to help you.
Love it.
We love it. We love it. We love it. And that's not just here in Georgia. It's something that's actually kind of cool. I've got connections all over the United States with different agents that, again, we do the referral partners with. So love to connect people with that we know, love, and trust in other states. I've got a cousin actually that lives in New Mexico. He is in the Air Force.
Ooh.
And so he was first stationed in Clovis, New Mexico. And he called me up, listen, I'm tired of living in base housing.
What can we do?
What can we do? And so I hooked him up with an amazing agent out there. Well, then he ended up changing and he's like, okay, now I'm moving to Albuquerque. And he was like, but high standards, because who you got me with in Clovis.
This is what I'm used for.
Yeah, it was amazing. I hooked him up with one lady, thought it was going to be, ended up not being. He called me, he's like, this ain't going to work. So I was like, okay. So I did a little bit more research, found another gentleman that has just been amazing, that he's been able to refer his friends to. So I now have a family member in Clovis that I've got 2 different connections in 2 different cities of New Mexico. And now I've got a cousin that's investing.
Bam.
So that's just
a good example for you.
Yeah. So he's got 2 pieces of property now. So just for folks, little last minute things. Yeah, we've got connections all over the place, and we're just here. We're happy to help.
That's great. Is there anything that is just words of wisdom? I know we just dropped a lot there on towards the last question, but just in general, the world around you, anything that you would like to kind of say to the audience, to the world out there?
Absolutely. So I never embraced the positive affirmations or the working in gratitude. It was never something that I was brought up with. However, since embarking on the journey of doing real estate, which I'm like, I thought I was here just to sell real estate. And you're like, no, you're working on yourself. And be in gratitude. I cannot tell you how much positivity and how good it makes you feel working in gratitude. Like, it's amazing and it's a blessing, and being able to give back, and it just makes you a happier person. Don't get me wrong, I have my moments. My family will tell you.
Oh, we all do.
We're human, right?
Up and downs, a part of life.
But starting my day out with my 5-minute gratitude affirmations and 5 minutes of gratitude, and starting my day out that way makes it so much better, and it keeps me calm. And you go back to those pieces, and then reflection, reflecting on your day. I go to bed and I do it in my head, right? I zip through the day, and whatever, who it is that you believe in, I believe in God. Everybody has their different piece, and I totally respect that. But I will, say to God, like, thank you. Thank you for who you brought into my world today. Thank you for the lesson, because there are days that there's a lesson that I've learned. And thank you for that lesson that you've taught me, that you brought to my attention today. And thank you. And I'm just thankful. And I do it in my head. I don't say it out loud. Nobody knows. I'm just laying in bed, and I go to sleep so peacefully, like going through my day and looking at what's wonderful about it.
That's so wonderful stuff. That's
I encourage
such
people
gold of wisdoms right there
to do it. And if anybody, they can reach out to me even for that. It doesn't have to be about real estate. I'll share my books that I'm reading. I'll share the 5-minute journal that I do. But yeah, I'm happy to share anything. I'm happy to have lunch or coffee with anybody that just needs some encouragement and uplifting, because that's a part of we sell real estate, but it's more than that. It's so much more than that for me now. It's helping folks and letting them, guiding folks the way that I was guided.
There you go. I mean, great words. That's like an elevator pitch right there.
That's
kind
right.
of going to the end. Now, how can we gave it earlier some information for the last episode. If you weren't here in the last episode and you're just listening on this part, how can we find you? What is some contact information?
Awesome. So you can give me a call. My cell phone number is 770-337-1286. You can email me at Kristin, Kristin, at hollingsworthandco.com. I believe Kate is going to put all this information.
I will. It'll be right in there.
I have a Facebook page. You can find me on Facebook. I have a TikTok page. I've got an Instagram page. I have not busted into the Twitter page, y'all. I just don't even understand that one. I'm doing good to get some reels out there.
I'm doing good just to do my 3 that I do. So I feel you.
So you can definitely reach out to me there. But I think best way, call me. just call me. I'm happy to answer any kind of questions, just, help out in any way that we can.
Thank you for sharing your time with me today. This has been amazing, just getting to sit down and scheduling, getting everything kind of worked out, and it's phenomenal. So just thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of this and for folks to hear it. Yeah, thank you.
So as we kind of go through, if you want to contact me, my name is Cade Curtis. You can find me. My email is Cade, which is CADE @learningfromfriends.com. I have a Twitter page. I struggle with it. I will be honest with you. I don't have Instagram. I don't have the other ones, but that's one I've slowly kind of been able to do. I have a Facebook page. You can reach out that way. And I have a Patreon page if you would like to contribute some money. Even $1, $10, $100, $1 million, I will gladly be open to that because it's a great thing. Now, if you enjoy the podcast, you enjoy kind of the topics we're going into, share it with a friend. That's the biggest thing right there of putting it out there into the world for it. Share it with a friend, share it with your neighbors, share it with this community, put it on your Facebook page, your Twitter page, or something like that. Just put it out there into the world because we're growing and it's so fun to look back at the data and be like, wow, this episode was listened to in this country, or my data range of this was from like 15 to 30 years old and things like that. It's just so fascinating. And as I'm coming up on almost 2 years here, like it's been a pleasure to get to share this and share time with my friends that maybe haven't seen in a while. We haven't seen each other for probably 2, 3, 4 years, kind of that range.
It's been a little bit.
And that's the cool thing, getting to reconnect with your friends and having conversation. Just it brightens the world. Like sitting across from you right now and like seeing how like you're glowing and the happiness to it, that's worth every minute of every bit of the conversation.
100%.
So as we leave here, my name is Cade Curtis, your tour guide on this lovely adventure that I call Learning from Friends. And most of all, don't forget, let your curiosity fly high.